Hi everyone, thank you very much for your interest in learning a bit more about how to use this image annotator tool. And this video is a walkthrough of not just the basics, but also a few other advanced tools that I have added in the last few weeks as part of my version 0.8.0. And I'm recording this in mid-October 2024. And of course, I intend to update this video as I release new versions, so keep an eye on it. And in case you're watching this on YouTube because you found this video on YouTube somehow, a direct link to this video, then go ahead and look at the description down below for the GitHub page and also for how to installing, like the line pip install. Although you can just quickly pip install. I mean, here is the command on the screen. It says pip install DigitalSreeni image annotator. I know it's a mouthful, and I'm not self-obsessed to put my name everywhere. It's just that I tried a couple others and they're all taken, and I'm like, okay, hopefully DigitalSreeni image annotator is not taken. So there you go. That's the quick history of why the name is that. And okay, so once you install it, and by the way, go to the GitHub page and look at the installation instructions to actually get more information on how to properly install this. It's just pip install, but that video is even more geared towards those of you who don't like coding or anything to do with command prompt. I know if you're a biologist, material scientist, whatever your background is, you want to use this as a tool to annotate images. But if you're not familiar with command prompt and others, I kind of did a screen by screen, like a walkthrough. So hopefully you'll find that to be useful. Here, we're not going to do that, even though I spent last probably 2 minutes talking about the background. So let's just jump in. So to open the UI, the shortcut, one of the shortcuts is Sreeni. So just go ahead and type that. I guess I am obsessed with my name. I could have actually put image annotator, but anyway, Sreeni is easy to type. Again, most of these tools that I developed are based on what I need as a user. And of course, I took some of the feedback that I got from you after releasing the first few versions, and hopefully you'll find this to be useful. And I was just wondering what happened. Like, why did it take so long to open this? It's actually on my other screen. So let me go ahead and drag it up here and maximize it. And there is a dark mode for those of you who are night owls, who wants to work at night. But let's go back to the bright mode. It's nice and bright out there, so I want to use this mode. And first, I have my glasses here. I'm not wearing it. I don't know. But so I want my font to be a bit larger. So if you want, you can increase the font size. But maybe that doesn't make the screen look better. So you got the idea. You can toggle this dark mode. You have you can increase the size of the font and so on. So these are the couple of tools right there that you can adjust right away. But okay, how do you get started? First thing first, look at the menu up here, project. You can create a new project just like anything else, right? You can open a project. A project contains all your images, your annotations, and so on. So you can just open the project at a later time, right? And I also added save project as. It wasn't in one of the first versions. And of course, project details and search projects these are two new things in version 0.8.0. And obviously hopefully it will be there on future versions also, unless they severely interfere with some function. I don't see why we'll be losing that functionality. So a quick overview. So right there, we looked at settings already, tools. This is my personal favorite because there is a lot of things that I go do somewhere else, come back and annotate and do something else. I brought all my code into one place, as you can see right here, where, for example, as I'm annotating, I want to know annotation statistics, how many annotations per image, how many annotations per class I have, all that information. So while you're annotating, you can do Control-Alt-S. Again, I'm speaking from a Windows point of view. Of course, on Mac, it's Command. And hopefully it should also work on Linux, but if it doesn't, let me know. So COCO JSON combiner, again, if you have multiple JSON files and multiple image data sets, you can just combine all of those. Dataset splitter, it splits your dataset into train, val, and test datasets, including JSON annotations. If you already have a dataset with JSON annotations, like COCO JSON annotations, then you can split them, and the JSON will also be split into individual folders right there. Stack to slices is nothing but basically if you have a TIFF image or if you have a CZI image, those can be saved as individual slices. Why are these useful tools? Well, they're useful because I never ever annotate the entire stack. The modern algorithms like MassCar or whatever, YOLO, for example, they work with a handful of annotations. Of course, the more the better, but they do work with a handful of annotations. So why do I load an entire TIFF stack of 1,000 images or even 100 images and spend my time annotating every object in every image? I'll just do 3 images with, 20, 30, 40 objects and see how the result looks like, right? So you always need to just extract some slices for training purposes. Image patcher, if you have a large image, and your algorithm, whatever the deep learning algorithm you're trying to use, it requires images in specific size, 256 by 256, whatever. You can break large images into that size. Image augmenter, same thing. If you have, 50 images in a directory and you want to apply certain transformations and augment them and save them. Usually you do it on the fly when you're training them, you kind of do it on the fly. But if you want to save and supply those, this can be useful. Help is help. YOLO is something new. I put a beta tag next to it, although it seems to be working fine. You can train your own YOLO model using the annotations you have right now on the screen and apply that to segment your images and see how it works. I put this because someone asked, but this is really not the best way to use the resources on your probably tiny laptop that you're annotating on. If you have a nice beefy workstation that you're using for annotations and you have a free GPU doing nothing, well, first of all, shame on you. Why do you have a GPU doing nothing? It should be doing something. But if that is the case, then you can train model rapidly and then see where the model is failing, add more annotations, and then train it. And you can do this in an iterative way until you get a model that's working fine. And then you can go to prediction and load that model, set a confidence threshold, segment your image, and convert that into annotations. I'll show that to you using a couple of pre-trained models because I'm on a laptop right now. So I trained my model on Google Colab, and that's what I'm going to import right here, just to show how this works. Okay, so that's the menu part up there, and let's go ahead and start by creating a new project. It opens up, this dialog box wherever you fired up your wherever you typed Sreeni, right, to open this. So I did that in C image annotator. So that's where, C image annotator data, if you remember. So let's open that just in case. This is important. If you look here, I actually was in C image annotator data, and then that's where I typed Sreeni, right? So that's why it opened up this screen, so I don't have to navigate a lot. And right there within data, I have project 1, and this is where, as you can see, I put all my projects related to the images that I have in this directory. Yeah, so I have a directory called images with all the images related to this project. What happens if you import an image that's not in images right here, but you kind of add it to your project? In fact, when you do that, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to copy this into this images directory because it's not there? Unless it's in this images directory, it doesn't know what to do with that image, right? You cannot just have something somewhere floating around. Okay, so with that information, let's just say this is not training. This is if I can type tutorial 1. I don't know. So there you go. So when you create a new project, the first thing is it's asking you to enter any initial project notes. This is like metadata that you can search later on. So I'm going to say this project is definitely, if I can type, it is definitely not about monkeys or, I don't know, elephants. It is about cells and mitochondria. Why did I type definitely not about monkeys? In fact, I should update this so this text gets wrapped. It's only in this screen, but later on it should be fine. By the way, why did I type monkeys and or elephants? Because I want to search later on for some projects. You know, I can actually go and say, hey, search projects, and I can type keywords. And that keywords, it's actually looking at whatever notes you type and the date range, and any images, file names that you have here, any class names. So it should look at all of that and then give me the search. That's why if you search results, sorry. That's why it's nice if you can actually add any of your notes ahead of time. And by the way, if I go to project details right there, Control I, you can click Control I right there. It tells you, hey, this is called tutorial1.iap, and the creation date is like whatever the date is, last modified, and all that information will be right here. Okay, and there you go. This project is definitely not about monkeys or elephants. It's about cells and mitochondria. So all that information. As we add more stuff, you know, this gets populated. Okay, now, well, what do? We just created a project. The next step is to either import annotations. If you already have a bunch of images and annotations, you can import them. But why would you do that? If you have them, then fine, you're done. The reason why I put this here is sometimes what I do is I take like a data set that has been published somewhere. I take it and then I add my own data to it. That's where this can be very useful. But we'll get back to that in a minute. The first step we need to do is add new images. So since we are in project 1 right here in this working directory, it's going to open this screen up, and now I'm going to add some images. And I have a whole collection of images, so I can actually show you different ways. Not that you would mix and match like TIFF stacks with CZIs with other files. I just want to walk you through a few things. So let's go ahead and select a TIFF stack that probably has about 50 images, I think. And let's also select the CZI image, which is the image that you get from a Zeiss microscope. This is multi-dimensional, not just 3 dimensions. That's why I wanted to show you that. And let's also select the dogs. Let's do elephants also. And let's go ahead and open it. It should open the images fine, but since we opened a couple of multi-dimensional images, first thing first, it says, hey, for this TIFF file, you have multiple dimensions. Just tell me what dimensions these are. So I have 50 Z slices, like in depth. So 50 is fine. And in X and Y, it's 800 and 800. That's okay. And it's going to load all 50. It may be a bit slow here because I'm doing multiple things. I'm connected a lot of peripherals like the webcam and my microphone, and I'm recording the screen. So the system is going to be slow. So hopefully, whatever you see on the screen is as bad as it can be from a speed point of view for this application. Okay, so the other one, the dimensions are, the time dimension is fine, Z is okay. This is number of channels. The 3 here is number of channels. I have 3 channel image. And then the next one is height, next one is width, and then number of scenes. By the way, you can open this and see what options you have. So this is number of scenes. I don't want to get into all the details there. For CZI people, you probably know what I mean. Okay, so this is the TIFF, and you can go through each of these slices right there. And the CZI image right here. So you probably see mitochondria there, cytoplasmic region, and the nuclei. So this is the DAPI. Okay. And dogs and elephants, as you can see, these are regular images. And you can load satellite images like TIFF file, for example. GeoTIFF, I think you should be able to open, although the program is not optimized for it. So you don't want to use like an extremely large GeoTIFF file. For training, I recommend breaking it down into smaller patches and then annotating them. That's why I didn't focus a lot on handling those libraries. Just break it down into smaller files and go ahead and use it. And you can use, if that is what you're looking for, you can use image patcher to extract smaller patches from your images. Okay, now let's get to the point here. Add new images, you're like, oh, I forgot to add some images. You can always go back and you can always add more images. Let's go ahead and add marbles right there and all the other. These are a variety of different types of images, but still, it's fine. Okay, now let's go ahead and add classes. Again, so far it's very intuitive, I hope. So let's call this cells. Let's add another class called mito for mitochondria. What else do we have? Dog for dogs. And let's add... let's skip elephants for now. Let's add, I don't know, marble. Okay, so we have these. I can add others later as I'm annotating. And now I'm going to select cells and select one of these tools. So let me select polygon tool. All you need to do is click, click. I don't have a mouse. I'm using the laptop's pad, a touchpad, and I'm not good with that. Why do I not have mouse? Because all my USB slots are taken for, with my webcam and stuff. Okay, at the last point, just double click. So it closes it and adds this. And you can see, okay, this is it, the area. In fact, let's go ahead and add another one using rectangle tool. Again, I don't recommend using this unless you're creating annotations for bounding boxes for some application, I don't know. But I like polygon tool or I like paintbrush tool. Now, you can see like the area right there. When you click on a specific annotation, it turns red. But since the color is already red here, let's go ahead and change the color, I don't know, to pink maybe, because that's not something we are using. Now you can see I can click on the annotation, it turns it to red. So just a little tip right there. Okay, so this is how you add annotations. The other annotation tool is Paintbrush. And here you see how it says size 10. That's the number of pixels for the diameter. So you can use the minus on your keyboard to decrease the size, or you can use the +1. I normally use minus because then I can actually go through the edges very nicely, very nicely, very nicely. I don't know, I'm kind of losing my patience right there. But you can kind of, keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and hit enter. Because these are not connected, this is a ring. But if it is connected, it would be a closed loop. For example, let me be a bit more patient and draw wherever. This will be a closed loop, as you can see right there. Okay. Again, I recommend using a mouse, not doing something what I'm doing right now. And I do have you see how many annotations we have here. Obviously, we're going to clear them to do things in a proper way. But if you want to clear the smaller ones, you can just sort by area and then just click the last few that you think are useless and go ahead and hit delete, and they are gone. Okay. So now you have, and you can sort by class and sort by area. That's the reason why we added this sort by area. Okay, let me delete all of these and show you my favorite tool, which is the SAM assisted, the Pick a SAM model. And by the way, let me open the directory right here. You see within my data, I have SAM2S and SAM2T, and you can download these from Ultralytics URL. It's directly on my GitHub page, how to download these. You don't have to download them deliberately. What happens is if you don't have those files right here, when you select Pick a SAM model right here to, for example, small, it's going to download that model and place it in this directory. That's exactly how you can actually get these. If it's already not here, it's going to download it. Now, you don't want to do this all the time. You don't want to download these models all the time. That's why I just copy and paste them wherever I want. That's my working directory here. That's what I did. And now the SAM tool is ready. SAM stands for Segment Anything Model by Facebook. And you'll see why I like this specific tool. Now, you do have different models that you can pick from. I encourage you to stay away from the large model unless you have your hardware on your computer, large enough to store this in the memory. Usually base is fine, but I see good results with small. So by default, all the time I use small. Now, how do I use this? Okay, in this image, let's go ahead and select slice number 5. Okay, that's my slice number 5. If you're working with single image, fine. Go ahead and click on that image. And I want to annotate, let's annotate mitochondria. These are a bit difficult. And let's go, I don't know, to 13, even more random one, right? These are very noisy. By the way, to zoom in, use your mouse wheel, or you can use this to zoom in and zoom out. So I'm going to use this because I don't have the mouse. I'm not really good with the touchpad. So let's do this. Let's say this is mitochondria and we would like to annotate that. All I need to do is, since we already selected SAM assisted there, just click and drag. So let's click and drag, and I hope it should pick this thing up because SAM is usually a pretty good one. And again, my computer is a bit slow, so you may see this to be a little laggy, and it did a good job. So by the way, right now, it's not a permanent annotation yet. It's just showing me, hey, this is the top result that I got when you selected this. So I'm going to hit enter and it adds it to the list. And now I see that in the list down here. Let's do this one more time. Click, drag. And it's doing a good job. I was hoping it does a bad job so I can show you what to do if that is the case, but that's okay. Let's come back, and these are the 2 mitochondria that we kind of did. Now let's go ahead and pick the cells, and maybe it will do a bad job when I pick a cell, like for example, a big one like this. If not, that's because what do I mean by bad job? When we apply the segment anything model, we are basically accepting the top result, because it gives you multiple results with different probabilities. We are accepting the top result, and top result sometimes is not ideal. So for example, oh, that did a good job too. So let's try to annotate this big cell. It also includes this little cell. So I'm curious how it does with this large one. Okay, I guess I cannot show you how a situation where it fails. It's doing an amazing job even on cells like that. I'll do one more, okay? I'll do one more. Let's pretend this one is not good. Okay, this one is also good, but let's say this is not good. I don't like it because the probability is not good. So I'm going to hit escape. It's gone. And I'll click and drag again. Slightly different region. Okay, so I'm going to accept it. So that's why I love this SAM assisted tool. Usually does an amazing job. And in case it fails, you have the manual tools of paintbrush and polygon tools. Yeah, let's go ahead and do eraser tool. So for example, if you see here, you have cell 1 and here cell 2 and cell 3, right? So we have 3 cells, 1, 2, and 3. Let's say you want to divide the cell 1 into 2 for whatever reason. Let's say you have auto detection tool that detected both North America and South America as one. And you want to cut them into 2 at Panama Canal and say, hey, this is South America, this is North America. So you can take the eraser tool, and since we don't have North and South America style here, and let's also control the size of this, eraser tool. And I'm going to go through, all I'm doing is slicing through by half and then hit enter. Obviously it divides this into 2 different annotations, and you see cell 1 is down here and it adds a new annotation, cell 4 up there, and this is the cell 4 right there. Okay. And cell 3, cell 1, you can sort by area, so you can look at them. Or you can sort by class, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can easily track them. So the eraser tool is usually useful if SAM annotation doesn't do a good job and you need to kind of shave certain areas off. For example, you need to do that. Eraser, well, in this case, it actually did a good job, but if you want to erase it, that's where eraser tool or paintbrush, exactly the same thing. Paintbrush tool. Now, with the paintbrush tool, I should tell you one thing. For example, what happens if this, it did a bad job and you get like these 2. In fact, let's switch to dogs. I think it fails on this dog because dogs, the segment anything model, it's trained to, let's go ahead and select SAM assisted, and let's go ahead and select dog here and do this. Oh, there you go. It failed, right? You see this little area, it actually says SAM something, because that's not it. Let's go ahead and escape, and let's go ahead and draw again, because previously I may have not included something. So let's draw this again and see if it works or if it fails again. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to hit enter to accept it. And now let's do this one. And I bet it only gets half of the dog, or 80%, 90% of the dog. Let's go ahead and accept it. And it did this because, in fact, let's turn the visibility off. Like the checkbox here turns the visibility on and off for a given class. So let's turn it off, and you can see how there is a lot of fur here and there is no fur down here. So that's why it kind of missed this. But you want to paint this entire thing as a dog, right? So let's go ahead and use the rectangle tool. And let me click on the rectangle tool, and let's go ahead and add this part as dog. And you see this is the one that we just added, and this is the second one. I'm going to hold my control button down and select these 2 at the same time, and I'm going to select merge. And do you want to keep the original annotations? No, I don't want to keep the original ones in this case. So delete the original and give me only whatever is left. And there you go, dog 2, right? So anything that's automated will make mistakes. Whether it is SAM or YOLO, whatever it is, they will make mistakes. And that's why we have the tools like merge and eraser and so on. Yeah. So I hope you appreciate this. Okay, so we annotated this. What else can I show you? Of course, you can right click and rename the class. In fact, let's go back to cells. I just want to show you one other thing. Let's go back to this image. And you can see how we annotated image number 13. It shows up in this slice number 13. It shows up in this blue background. Let's go ahead and click on number 5 and also use SAM assisted for cells and add a couple of cells right there. I'm going to accept this. Okay, pretty good. I'm going to accept that. Why am I doing this? Because now you see how you have cells right there, you have cells right here. Now, what if you're like, okay, I changed my mind about cells. Let's go ahead and rename this. I want to call this cell instead of cells. Okay, I rename it. And also color, I changed my mind about pink. I want orange right there, or whatever that color is. Now I changed it. It should obviously reflect in whatever image you go to. It should say cell, it's this. So it's a global change, right? So that's one thing, keep in mind. The other thing I wanted to show you is the biggest mistake I always do is I come here and then I add, for example, okay, so now I want to add whatever this thing is. Oh, cool, did a good job, go ahead and add it. There are times where I spent like half an hour adding all of these and then realizing, oh my God, this is not cell, this is mitochondria. I forgot to click on mito before I did my annotation. So that's exactly why mistakes happen. So I click on cell 3, or you can click whatever. Let's go ahead and click on all of these and change the class. What class do I want to change it to? So you can pick it from here. Let's change this to mito. Go ahead and say okay. So all of those are changed to mitochondria. So you don't have to delete and re-annotate. So these are all the mistakes I make. So I kind of added those tools. And okay, so I am done with the left side. Everything makes sense. And right side, hopefully everything makes sense. One thing I want to show is, okay, we have this image. When we imported that, I imported this with the dimensions of t, time, like z, and channel, and so on. But what if I'm like, oh my, I made a mistake right there. I shouldn't do that. It's a different dimensions. I can click on redefine dimensions. But when you do that, you're re-rendering these images, right? When you're changing x to y, y to x, obviously your annotations don't mean anything. So it clears all the annotations and say, yes, I know, I understand. All the annotations will be gone. So I can say, okay, T, I should have said S here, and channels here, height, width, and Z as the last. It will rename the image accordingly, slices accordingly. You see how the Z comes at the last in this case. Although in this case, it doesn't matter. We only have one Z, one S, one T, but sometimes we make these mistakes. To remove the images, you can right click. You can just go ahead and remove these images. And by the way, one thing you'll notice when I right click is here, it says predict using YOLO. You see, when I go to TIFF, it doesn't give me that option because TIFF has a lot of stacks. So for now, it's only individual images that you can actually predict using predict using YOLO. Now, when I click on predict using YOLO, I haven't selected what model to use. So it's gonna say, hey, go ahead and kind of select what model you want to use. We'll get to that in a second, just to confirm that we have done pretty much everything here. So let me save the project, Control S, and remove the project. I can actually do Control W to remove it. And why not just say yes. Okay, so the project is gone. And by the way, let's quickly give this a try. Let's search projects. This is one thing we haven't tried. I think we did monkey and what else do we have? Cell, I think, and marble, which should be only one project, this one. The other ones, I don't think I have this combination, but let's see. Where do you want to search? Well, I want to search within my data folder. Go ahead and search. There is one matching found, and that one is just the one that we created, right? So you can put these logical operators. You can actually say cell, and for example, instead of, if I can control my mouse, marble, or what else do we have? Let's say, or elephant. Okay, now let's go ahead and search. I think we still have the same one right here. You got the point. You can use these type of operators, and double clicking this will open the project. All our stack should be open. Everything should be open. You see, this is how we closed it earlier. We have our annotations and for dog and everything. Okay, so I think this is like a general overview. A couple of things that we haven't done is using YOLO, training, prediction, and so on. For that, let's go ahead and create a new project. Let's call this EM slices. And this is I don't know, I just typed something, so go ahead and say okay, and it's created right there. And now let's go ahead and add new images. Now I saved the TIFF stack I showed you earlier into slices, so that's what I want to load because I never annotate all 50 images, right? So probably what I would do is take slice number 5, slice number 20, take like 4 or 5 of these from this data set and another 4 or 5 from a different data set, of similar, data that's collected at a later time and so on. And it says the project structure requires all images to be in images subdirectory because I picked these images from somewhere else, but they need to be along with the project. So it's like, hey, do you want to copy these images into that images subdirectory? Which is basically, it's asking me, these images are not in this images folder, in this images subdirectory right here. They're in another directory. They need to be right here. So do you want to copy them? So I say, okay, just go ahead and copy. So those images should show up right here. There you go. We just added those and we are all set to start annotating them. Now, I mentioned about, okay, I thought a second about whether to talk about training, but let's just start with prediction and then get to training. Let's do this the other way around. How do you do YOLO? I'm covering this because someone asked about, hey, why not add this functionality? In fact, this is not a bad functionality. I did actually train this data set using a handful of annotations that I have done right here on my Colab. And I did a video on that actually on how to use Detectron, for example, to train a YOLO model. So that's exactly what I did. I took that model that I trained from that video, and that's what I'm going to import. So I am going to load a model under prediction settings, and a model includes both model file and the YAML file. YAML file, it looks at this for all the classes that are required, what the class names are. But first, let's add the model file, which is .pt extension. And let's select this. And for YAML, it should be the data.yaml right there. We are all set. If the YAML file doesn't match the information in the model, it's going to tell you right here, hey, it's not matching. So go ahead and find the right YAML file. Okay, I loaded the model. Now what? All I need to do is right click and predict using YOLO. And it says it found 120 prediction for 4 different classes. Those are the ones described in my YAML file. It actually did a good job. In fact, it missed a few of these cells. It did that even when I was doing the training part. It did a good job with these cells, which is fine. The best part here is it did great with the alpha particles, with the mitochondria that are a bit more difficult to annotate, but the large cells, I can always use SAM assisted to add them, right? So right now, they're all temporary annotations. If you see under annotations, you see none of them. And they're all added as temporary annotations right there. So I am going to uncheck all of those and only look at temporary cells and say, well, that's not really a cell. This is not something. You can actually, I did not implement like clicking on something, double clicking, deleting, because you don't want to do it in this state. Let me know if you want to, but because I selected this, I can go ahead and hit enter to accept those. All these temporary annotations are now permanent. You don't see that temp anymore next to it. So these are all the annotations. Again, if the name, if it's a bit difficult, let's switch to dark mode. So these are a bit more visible. Now I want to sort by area and go all the way to the bottom and select the one with 0 pixels. I don't know what that even means. An annotation with 0 all the way to wherever you think these are not cells. Probably this is also not. I'm holding the control button to select these, and now you can click on the delete button here, or let's go delete. I did the delete on the keyboard last time. So are you sure you want to delete what one? Oh God, I don't know why I did not select all. Maybe I missed it when I added the other one. I was wondering why it said. Okay, let's select all of these, delete. It says 10 annotations. Go ahead and delete all 10. If you want to delete something, you can also double click on it and hit delete, and that annotation is gone. Yeah, so we have 3 of these left. This is how I do. So cells, you can leave it as is. Now temp vessels, let's click on it. You can accept this, but just so I can show you how rejecting looks like, I press escape and those are gone. So those annotations are not converted to, or those predictions, I should say, are not converted to your annotations. And I can select multiple, by the way. I can select Mito and Alpha both at the same time and hit enter. I am accepting all, and now I can sort and kind of delete or add and do that type of stuff. Yeah. So I think this makes sense. I hope, this is an easy way of using it. By the way, if actually, let me not deviate. You can actually load the YOLO V11 model and just segment your images if you're segmenting or if you're predicting on the classes that are defined in their data set. I'll show that actually for the sake of completeness in a minute, but what we'll do is let's actually create only a single data set, a single class for now. You can do multi-class, but I don't have the patience to add all of. As I'm saying, I'm like, okay, should we do that? Okay, I changed my mind. Let's go ahead and add all of these. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and predict using YOLO. This is so fast, right? So, and I am going to add these annotations, say, okay, I'm going to go to the next image, right click, predict using YOLO, and go ahead, add. And okay, this is pretty fast. On my laptop doing million things, this is pretty fast, right? So you can do these, and once you do that, once you kind of annotate your images that you have here, you can actually go to YOLO beta training, and first thing first, this is where you train your model using the annotations you just have. I have broken the process into multiple steps because it can be very confusing without that. So first, I'm going to load a pre-trained model. And the pre-trained model I'm going to load is obviously not the one I trained. You can use the one that you trained, but I am going to use YOLO 11. So this is YOLO V11 and designed for segmentation. Okay, so that's the model we loaded successfully. Once you load the pre-trained model, we are going to fine tune it. That is the next step. Using what? Using our annotation data. Which means let's remove the ones that are not annotated right there. Let me remove, yes. Okay, remove this image, delete, yes. Okay, and I have these 2 images that are annotated, and I want to use these 2 to train a model. So how do I do that? Just go to YOLO training. We already loaded the pre-train, and now I'm going to select prepare YOLO dataset. And what it's going to do is it is going to put a YOLO thing right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Prepare YOLO dataset. So from the annotations, it's actually going to prepare a dataset that has, where is the data project? Right here. It just created this YOLO dataset. So it's basically nothing but your data.yaml, like any other YAML file for YOLO dataset, your training images that you are used, images and labels, and your validation images. In this case, I'm only dumping the training images and not the validation, and I'm using training images at the valid images. I didn't implement the entire process. This is a shortcut to actually train a model, so you can use that model to further segment your images if the model is good. yeah, to automate your segmentation. Okay, so now that we prepared the YOLO dataset, let's go ahead and load it. I deliberately separated this. Yeah, so because again, it can be confusing if you have everything lumped together. Maybe I'll, if more people find this tool to be useful, I'll make it a bit more streamlined. But again, this is the first step. Okay, so where did we save in project one, right? So that's where we saved this YOLO dataset. And I'm gonna load this YAML file. It says, hey, the load dataset is successfully loaded. Now we are all set to train the model. Okay, sorry, let me turn the phone off. So number of epochs, how many epochs? Let's just say 10 for now, and image size 800. The image size doesn't matter, by the way. Well, it does matter. In my case, they are 800 by 800, but in your case, you can give the shortest dimension or the longest dimension. During the prediction process, it's gonna resize the image to whatever you define here. So let's go ahead and start OK. And one other thing that I should say, the stop training is not working. I'll have to figure that out for the next release. That's a known bug for now. It is not working. It's not stopping. It will continue and finish the training. And it will actually start writing. I think it's preparing. You're not seeing what's going on here. It's actually preparing stuff right there, as you can see. And as the epoch ends, it writes it right here. Okay, I'll leave this open so you can see, and it takes, again, on my laptop a few seconds, but I'll let it go so you can see the screen. Okay, so as you can see at the end, the model completed successfully. Go ahead and close. Obviously, it started at 24 and it's at 22 in terms of loss. So it's not great training. It takes time to train these, and it takes data to train these models. And once it's trained, you can go ahead and use it. So let's go ahead and add and see how if it even works. Let's go back to our project one, and let's add another image that we haven't used for training. Let's just do 21, for example. Yes, go ahead and copy it to my project. And let's go ahead and load the model. And since I fired up our application, like it's not here anymore, from the command prompt, I opened the application from the data directory. It actually puts the runs in here, and under segment, under train, you can copy this somewhere else, and you can see the best.pt and the YAML file. It's nothing but the YAML file for our data set, right? This is what we used to train. So let's just say, okay, hey, they are loaded successfully. Once it's there, all we need to do is go ahead and predict using YOLO. No predictions found. Let's go ahead and do one thing. Go to set confidence threshold. Let's change this to 0.01. I mean, very low. And now let's go ahead and predict. No prediction, sorry. I mean, obviously we didn't train it for a long time, but you know how this is basically the process right there. Now let's go ahead and open the previous project. Let's go save this. Let's open the previous project that we created. We called that tutorial 1, right? So let's open that. And why am I opening this? Let me remind myself. Yeah, I just wanted to come to dogs. And let's go back to the bright theme. Let's go ahead and delete these two. I think dog is, in fact, let's go and do a more difficult image like elephants, actually. In fact, let's actually use a rectangle tool to annotate like one elephant. I mean, you can use a different tool, but I am doing this. It's called I always do this mistake. In fact, I don't have elephant class. Okay, let's not complicate things. Let's just go to YOLO beta, prediction settings, load the model, and the model we're going to load is the YOLO V11 model that I downloaded from the YOLO Ultralytics website and the corresponding COCO file. I will include these. Yeah, right there, COCO YAML, and go ahead and OK. So now we loaded this pre-trained model. It's pre-trained on a bunch of classes, so it should be fine. 37 elephants. You see how it kind of picked up all of these. I like what I see. Go ahead and hit enter. So you can actually click on each of these elephants and you can see how it did an amazing job right there. I don't think it has marbles in it. It has like some animals and some traffic signs. I think it has people, bicycle, backpack. But let's go ahead and what does it say? It says these are, this is an orange, and it says this is whatever that thing is. Let's accept it so you can see what it means here. So it added an orange and an apple, right? I mean, it doesn't have a marble class. This is where you, in fact, the SAM model, if I click on marble, SAM assisted, it should do an amazing job right there. There you go. Isn't that great? That's why I absolutely love SAM assisted. There is no auto. I mean, you're annotating these for a reason because there is no model that's good for your data sets. So what's the point if you already have something that is doing an amazing job? Then use that model to segment your images. So that's why SAM assisted, you have to put in the work. You get your annotations, use those annotations to train the model. Okay, fine. You trained all of these. I mean, you got all these annotations. Now, how do you export them? You just click on your, you can pick any of these. You can export them to COCO JSON, YOLO, labeled images, semantic labels, and Pascal, bounding box only, and bounding box plus segmentation. Although Pascal, the common VOC format is bounding box, I just added segmentation in case you, I don't know, if you want to use it. The most common things I do is, I named it YOLO V8, but it's the same format as V11, right? So you can use it for 11 or V8, COCO JSON. Now, once you export it, you can actually import annotations. Let's close this project and let's say no. And you can import existing annotations if you have existing annotations. Do I have any existing annotations? If not, let's just open a project. I just want to show you how this functionality works. I'm glad that you still have patience. I have patience to talk forever. I'm glad you have patience to listen to me. Okay, let me just open one of the previous ones, like test project. I don't even know what I was doing with test projects here. Oh, that's a really hopeless and useless project. Let's go ahead and open testing 3. I don't know. I did a lot of testing of this version. And these are all the different things that I added here. Okay, this is fine. So we have a couple of these Z5 and Z10 annotated for cells, and I have dogs annotated, and I have horse on the street. In fact, this is a good one. Let's go ahead and right click and predict using YOLO. Oh God, okay, I did not select the model, prediction, load model, and let's actually use our YOLO model right there, and the class. I'm getting better without using the mouse, by the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Okay, after all that work, I hope this works. Predict using YOLO. Okay, nothing, it did not work at all right there. So what's going on right there? Let's go ahead, and confidence threshold is okay. I don't know why I should be changing this because these are all YOLO. But it doesn't mean it works on all images. Let's go ahead and check this one more time. Oh, there may be, oh, did I load the right one? Sorry, I did not load the right one because it's showing me vessels and cells. Sorry for wasting your time, guys. You probably were yelling at the screen saying, hey, this is 3D EM class. These are electron microscopy data. This is not the YOLO data, YOLO V11 model. This is what we need to be opening. I was wondering why YOLO pre-trained is failing on this image because it's trained on images like this, basically. Okay, right click one last time. Let's hope this works. And YOLO. Okay, let's come here, escape, remove all of that, and right click. If nothing, we probably found a bug. Okay, there you go. I Apologize for all that confusion. Remove all the previous clutter. Now it's using the model. There you go. So this is the horse, and that is the car, and temporary annotations. I'm going to add them, and it added this as a person, only a leg of the person. Again, adjust the confidence levels to see. And if it fails, blame YOLO V11 pre-trained model. Okay, you can actually download a different YOLO model and then try it. Not just the V11N is what I'm using. You can use a different model, but it did a good job with these. Great. Okay, so I showed pretty much everything. A couple of things I can show is on Windows, you can type like F2. If you are bored, you can actually, oh, it's on the different screen. Let me pull it up here if I can in time before I lose. What do you mean by you lose? This is the snakes game, basically. I like to play this when I'm bored. In fact, right from 1990s during the college days, I had this game. So that is, why did I say on Windows? Because F2 on a Mac on most Macs is for brightness. So you may have to remap that key, or I'll find time in the next one to change this from F2 to some other key that's probably not pre-assigned in a Mac, on a Mac. Okay. The core of the stuff is done. I will just show you a couple of things. We did all these annotations, like what is the information, like annotation statistics. I can click on that. It shows you how many objects per class. And you can also click on show interactive plot. It opens a plotly plot in a web browser. So that's that information. If you go to project and project details, it gives you all that information, right here. Creation date, last modified, and what classes do we have, and all kinds of extra information. We have 5 cells, like all relevant information. Now, when you actually search for the projects in your directory, it actually uses all that metadata to actually perform the search and find the relevant projects for you. Okay, so the only other thing that I did not talk, or a few things, is COCO JSON combiner, dataset splitter. These are so straightforward. All you need to do is select up to 5 JSON files, go ahead and combine them. Yeah, so it just combines all those files. What do you mean by files? So if you have a dataset 1 with a whole bunch of images, JSON file, dataset 2, whole bunch of images, JSON file, just combine all those images into one directory. And these 2 COCO files, that's what I'm combining right here, in case it's not clear. Dataset splitter, it splits your data into 70%, 30%, whatever you use. It's pretty straightforward. On top of that, if you want to split the JSON file also, meaning you have a one grand JSON file with all your images and you want to split that into train, validation, and testing, you can do that here. It creates individual directories with individual JSON files. This is something I used it a lot when I had my own code. I've written that code for the first time. Stack to slices, I explained you load a TIFF stack and convert that into slices. Image patcher, same thing. Image patcher basically tells you, hey, you load and open a large image and what patch size, or you can load multiple images and you can define an overlap, because if the image is, I don't know, 300 by 300 pixels and you're doing 128 by 128, some pixels are left over. So should you do a different pixel, patch size, or should you extract them with certain overlap? So this is something you can decide when you're extracting the patches. And finally, image augmenter is select your input directory, output directory where you want to dump them. How many augmentations per image? How many copies of your image do you want to store with these augmentations applied? And do you also want to augment the COCO JSON annotations, meaning you have a bunch of images and annotations already ready. Now you decide to augment them. Obviously, those annotations need to be also augmented. That's what this means. And what kind of operations do you want to perform are all down here. I think that's really, I appreciate your patience for sticking around for, I don't know, 45 minutes to 50 minutes. I have to look at the time. But we covered everything. And if you have any suggestions or any questions, any doubts, just let me know. I believe I covered every aspect that I wanted to cover here. Thank you again very much for your patience and for your support of this project. If you really like it, go ahead and give me thumbs up wherever you're watching this tutorial on YouTube. Go ahead and like it, download this. So however you can support. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.